What is up, folks? Welcome to the Proper Wellbeing Chat with myself, Ross Gyrey, and my incredible business partner, fitness coach, and what did we say last week? Rock climbing guru and personal rock climbing coach. Still fake titles, but they're there. They're there.
They'll do
Any
for
sort of
now.
outdoor adventure sport man, he's there. He does it. It's Mr. Ben Johnson.
That's my thing. Thank you very much. I have no comeback for that. I'm just like, what do you do? Oh no, you do outdoor swimming, don't you? In your, I was going to say you tighty whities. I'm sure you put some trunks on. Yeah,
Speedos, mate. Yeah,
strange,
yeah. I'm still
strange
on the
things. Yeah,
speedos.
yeah. It's like, yeah, I go surfing, mate, but I do it in a full wetsuit in the North Sea. That's
Yeah.
that's what it's about.
Need to get the skins, man.
No, it's
Get in
crazy,
there,
isn't it?
embrace the cold. I still think that we should host a meeting in the sea and just see what incredible ideas we have, because it'll be good, man.
It'd be the shortest meeting on record, mate.
Well, that's probably something that we could learn a few lessons from.
Yeah, fair enough. Not taking too long over stuff, basically, which is something and we were probably taking far too long over this introduction already. People are like, "Oh, bored, go away." What are we meant to be talking about today? Let's get into it.
What are we meant to be talking about? We're
Yeah,
meant to be talking about incredible perks of playing the long game. And that essentially means your long-term health and fitness. Because think of it like this, right? You're going to be alive, fingers crossed, for the next, what, 20 to 60 years. And for that time period, do you want fitness and health and your well-being to be a struggle, or do you want to learn how to make it part of your identity? That is exactly what we're going to be talking about today.
yeah, sounds good. So I think it's a big issue, isn't it? The big part of the industry is kind of set up for this short term, and we're going to dig into this in a little bit more detail. But people kind of want to be fitter, they want to be stronger, they want to be healthier, that kind of stuff. But you can't get that without playing the long game, is the long and the short of it. It's like if you just do those short term things, you don't get that long term success. Yeah, you want this to become effortless, you want it to be running on autopilot. You don't want to have to be on a constant diet. You don't want to have to be constantly restricting calories or never going to the gym more than twice in January, whatever it may be. No longer feeling like a failure, having low self confidence, poor body image, all those things, which is what happens when you take that short term approach. You flip that mindset to taking that long term approach and getting your health and fitness within an autopilot, and everything else flows from there nice and easy.
And that means that you have to look at your health and fitness differently to how you look at it, right? And a lot of this isn't your fault. A lot of this is the way that fitness and health has been marketed to you over the years. Like, we want everything quicker. It's how the human brain works. We want everything short term, faster. Like back in the day when weight loss first became a thing, I remember seeing something on like fitness marketing that the used to just be able to say to people, weight loss. And like that was fine. That was okay. People
Yeah.
were like, yes, that is exactly what I want. And now it's like, lose 34 pounds in 7 days, or you get your money back and we'll give you a free dog. It's like it's
Yeah.
it's
I'm
like
in.
people, yeah, it sounds brilliant actually. It's a win-win. But it's one of them.
Just for the
It's
free dog.
just for the free dog, mate. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, it's literally one of them. It's so far-fetched nowadays, and everything's shorter, everything's faster, to the point now where they're actually trying to change the legislations within fitness marketing now to make it more accurate and stop pushing
Yeah.
so many fake things that genuinely don't help people. So having going into that long-term side of things, you need to have that change of mindset, all right? You need to look at things differently, create skills that are going to do it, follow habits that are going to get you there, all these different things that are totally different to the short term. And we're going to go into a few differences today and why it's super important for that long term approach. And I bet you've probably seen the same as well, mate, that everyone you know who is always dieting
Yeah.
is never making any progress.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, it's so common. And I'm going to pick up on something you said previously as well, because I do want to dig into that in a bit more detail. But it's like, how many people have we seen over the years who've like, yeah, I've been on a diet for 3 years, and they're still the same weight as they were 3 years ago, or actually usually they're heavier than they were 3 years ago because they've not been on a consistent diet. They kind of bounce in and out of these short-term cycles, don't they? It's
Yeah,
like
these
they look,
extreme short-term cycles.
yeah. They look in the mirror, or the dress that they want to wear for the party doesn't fit, or whatever, and there's that little catalyst. They're like, oh, I've got to do something about it. So they'll try a diet that they've done in the past, maybe, or they'll go and look for a new option, which is usually what happens. They'll try a keto diet, or a vegan diet, or a raw food. Like, there's a million and one diet options out there. Or worst case scenario, you're going to buy some random fat loss pills off the internet that just don't work. The
That
big
is the
thing,
cycle. That is the cycle.
yeah,
People
that's
stay in there,
absolutely,
and they stay in there continually for years and years and years. And again, it's
yeah,
not that people have done this wrong. It's just that it's how it's been sold to you. This
yeah,
is how you've been sold how to get in the best shape of your life, right? Because long-term habits, now then, that is a book that not many people would buy. But
yeah,
if it was like, honestly, if you get in the best shape of your life in the next 7 days, and it was a genuine thing, people would choose it because everyone wants everything shorter and faster, and it's literally how we work. But we can't work like that with health. That's not how
yeah,
health works. Health has
yeah.
to be a long-term process. It just has to be something that you're doing regularly. And the mental effects of just looking after your health mentally is as important as the physical changes that you're going to be making.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And I think I just want to pick up on, because we talk about long term a lot as well. And you said kind of 30 to 60 years or whatever that people bring your life for, and that is important. But I think when we're talking about long term, you can get an awful lot of progress in 2 to 3 months, can't you? I think it's something we mentioned briefly in one of our earlier podcasts. It's like you can still make real good progress, but if you're doing it in a way that's actually building habits that are going to last you beyond that 2 to 3 months. If you put an accountability in that's going to last you beyond that 2 to 3 months, if you're doing it in a way that is long term and is sustainable, then you get that good progress to start off with. It might not be you crazy, lose 37 pounds in 7 days and win yourself a free dog. But if we were to say to you, look, in 6 months' time, you can be there or thereabouts, people are like, actually, that doesn't sound too bad. Oh, and actually, you know what? In 6 years' time, 60 years' time, you'll still be fit and healthy.
Yeah.
That to me is a much stronger position to be in than 3 months' time, you've lost 37 pounds, but in a year's time, you've got to put it all back on and more, and we've probably come and taken the dog back
And
off.
and for those who like are quite new to what we do, right? And we say how we do everything long term, and you might have heard us occasionally bash things that promise you incredible weight loss over a ridiculously short period of time. That is not because like we don't agree with that, like or what it's literally because it's not the best thing to do. It's really not. It's absolutely catastrophic. It's not like paleo, like high carb versus low carb, and they're just both arguing with each other. Like with this, one is right and one is wrong. And you've got to look at it from the long term sustainable approach. It's not that we're just like, oh, we're not a fan of rapid weight loss. Like th-
Yeah,
there's there's laws of thermodynamics and calories and stuff like that that you may not understand that you need to follow. Otherwise, you are setting yourself up for catastrophic like rebound effects mentally and physically in the long term, not as in like the next week, in the long term. I'm going to go off topic slightly with my background a little bit here, mate. And I don't even know whether you know this or have similar stories, but I've been through pretty much every supplement on the market, right? I've been
it
through
doesn't
pretty
surprise me.
much everything. Yeah. Yeah. Also been in hospital with like stomach issues a lot, coincidentally. I'm not sure how aligned they are, but I'd probably put a lot of money on being quite aligned. But anyway, I've done ridiculously strict diets. I've done a lot of paleo stuff. I didn't do keto. I thought that was too far, and it is too far. I've done bits of fasting, like all these different styles, right? But do you know what actually got me the best results? And this was about 2 years ago now. So at the beginning of when lockdown started, so 1.5 years or whatever, finally I had a bit of time for me to look after myself properly, right? And I lost 35 pounds. And I'm
Yeah.
still 35 pounds down now, exactly. And I stopped losing weight about a year ago, right? But I've been able to maintain it. Yeah. And I did that just from eating flexibly and watching my food, allowing myself treats like when I wanted them, but I made sure that there were a few little rules around it. So it was only a couple times a day. Like I was eating more bread, more pizza, all these different things than all the times where I'd done strict dieting before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I actually got in the best shape of my life. And I was still allowing myself everything. There wasn't like, can't have that, can't have that, can't have that, because it makes you want it more. So, like, I know we're big fans of the sort of flexible diet approach and just making sure that nothing's off bounds. Uh, but I'm proof of that. Like,
Yeah.
it's the smoothest way to diet. Everywhere we go now, like if we're going out for food, or if me and Ben, like going out for a tuna melt panini or whatever, like there's nothing off the menu, but
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
yourself to a position to earn that right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about finding, like it's finding that balance, isn't it? And doing it in a way that is enjoyable for you at the end of the day. And this is where like a whole load of these kind of crazy diet plans or crazy workout plans or whatever it may be, they just fall by the wayside because you can't keep them up long term because they're not enjoyable. It's the long and short of it. And, don't get us wrong. There's times when you're doing a set of heavy squats or you're doing some sprint intervals or stuff. I can't say it's the best time of my life that I'm having when I'm training. There's times where you're looking at that slice of pizza thinking, I really should put that back in the box or even chuck it out, and it's not the best feeling in the world. But it doesn't mean to say that I'm not going to enjoy myself the rest of the time, sort of thing, with whatever it is that I'm eating and the training that I'm doing. Then allows me to go and do, like you said at the top of the program here, allows me to go and do surfing, reclining, all that kind of good stuff. That enjoyable stuff. Finding a way of eating, a way of training that you enjoy doing, being flexible about it within those kind of guide rails of your calorie balance and not going crazy on the weekend or whatever it may be. That's what works in the long term, and that's what's going to make you as you are now exactly the same weight as you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 10
So,
years ago for certain people.
so when people, right, so when people are starting something new and they start something shiny, like what you said earlier, and then motivation's good at first and then it dips off and whatnot, why can't they sustain it? And why is that short term? And what do they need to make sure that that's more long term?
So to answer that first one, the reason why it's not sustainable is, like I've mentioned, really, because it's not particularly enjoyable. The vast majority of the time, it's one of the reasons we don't do diet plans for people. It's like, well, your diet plan is chicken, broccoli, and rice, 3 meals a day.
Legit been
Simple.
there, and it is horrendous. It's
Yeah.
like it's not fitness and it's not health. It's horrendous.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
wasn't even that lean doing it.
Yeah. 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 So you need. So the reason why it breaks down short term is because those plans just don't fit you and don't fit your lifestyle and just aren't enjoyable. Be that nutrition or be that training wise. So what you need to do instead is basically, well, first and foremost, you need to put in habits that you know that you can stick to. Yeah. So and again, this is something that we've touched on before, but that's a case of you're going to do some strength training 3 times a week, 2 times a week, whatever it is. Yeah. You're going to increase your cardio a little bit. Yeah. Now the best way to do that is just by fitting it into your day-to-day lifestyle, whatever it may be. But you need to put those habits in place, make them as easy as possible. And add on to that, you need to be improving some accountability. I want you to talk about this because it's obviously something you've just set up with your guys at Aon, but just a way that people can be accountable to themselves and kind of what that gets people, where it gets them to in terms of their success.
Yeah, it's one of them. Like even when you're PTing people in the gym, right? People always turn up, always, because
Yeah,
there's already that additional level of accountability there. So what you need to be able to do is create accountability for your fitness and health habits to make sure that you stick to them, right? And there's certain things that you can do to help with your accountability. You can tell other people, right? You can set a goal. We've set up something recently where all our clients are in small groups and they're checking in with each other every single week to make sure that they're all keeping each other on track. That is the best thing that you can do. But there's so many aspects of accountability. But what you essentially need to do is just increase your accountability on any health and fitness habit that you have, right? It can be easy. It can just be reminders around your house. It can be telling people. It can be putting it on Facebook. But like, if you just say in your head, I'm gonna get in the best shape of my life in my head, but you sat there with no plan, right? You don't know what the outcome looks like. You don't know what the steps are to get you there. There's nothing there to support you. It's just a wish, isn't it? Really, at that stage.
Yeah.
So finding things that you enjoy, food wise and training wise, that's absolutely essential. But where the long term really, really differs from this short term is you develop skills that can only be developed in the long term, right? You can only develop discipline from doing something in the long term. And all these skills, right? Like discipline, confidence, consistency, overcoming barriers, overcoming challenges, like pushing yourself that extra level, like determination, all these things that you look at people and go, that is so far away from me. Like they're actually all skills that you learn on the job. They're skills that you learn in the long-term process. No one starts with that skill set. You develop those skills from taking action. But if you're just going to drink a vitamin drink that promises you weight loss in 7 days, like there's no discipline, there's no plan, there is absolutely nothing. It's just going to leave a hole and you're going to feel rubbish for doing it. So you've got to stay in that long-term game. And then on top of that, a bit of knowledge won't go amiss. So we obviously give all our clients our academy and have everyone go through the academy process where we coach them on fat loss, mindset, habit building, behavior change, everything. There's like, what, 80 videos in there now?
So something ridiculous, mate, and an awful lot there. And I think that's that. Mate, so I was going to say in terms of that knowledge as well, because I picked you up on that one. That idea of building discipline and kind of just being in the trenches, almost like doing this stuff. You learn from that process as well. It's like what your way of doing things, speaking to you directly here, as opposed to listen, your way of doing things is a little bit different to my way of doing things when it comes to health and fitness, because we have different lifestyles. But we have learned from experience what it is that works for us. You know, it's like, I mean, we're both like chewing nuts, don't get us wrong, but it's like, you know, that there's other ways of eating that I'm sure we prefer to do, that the other one looks and goes, any chance I'm doing that?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's as simple as this, mate, isn't it? All our clients, every single client we have, none of them are on the same training program and none of them are eating the same foods.
Yeah.
None of them. Everyone is doing what fits with them, because that's what it's about. People can't do my plan because it only works for me. Like people can't do Ben's plan because that only works for Ben. And that's the thing. Like you've got to find what works for you. You can't just copy something off Instagram and like then give yourself a load of grief when it doesn't work. Because that's part of the cycle too. We give ourselves a load of grief when we can't stay on track for something that looks quite easy. But it's not. It's not easy at all. The easiest way to do it is to find what you enjoy doing.
Yeah. So, and if you do keep going through that short-term cycle, you're constantly going to be, you know, on this calorie restriction. You're going to be sad about following this latest craze on Instagram. You're going to just keep going with these failures, aren't you? It's like every 3 months you're going to be on a new diet. Every January you're going to join the gym again, you know, or you're going to be on holiday wearing a slightly bigger swimsuit than it was last year, whatever it may be.
Don't bring my swimsuit into this.
I was mentioning nothing there, mate. It was already mentioned when we were talking about swimming at the top. I don't know whether your swimsuit has got bigger or got smaller. I don't really care.
Feels like it's got a bit smaller, but it's the time of year, mate. That's what it is. And apparently you need to be carrying more fat for outdoor swimming. That's word on the street.
I mean, all I would say is that my wetsuit is still the same size wetsuit as it was for me about 20 years ago. So I'm just going to put that one out there, yeah. So, but that's that's the point. Is you find that lifestyle, and all the good things flow from it. You remain leaner. You're actually able to eat more calories. You get better health, longer life expectancy. You're fit enough to run around with your kids or your grandkids. But I reckon we probably need to wrap it up there because we've got other things that we need to go and get on doing today.
Yeah, we've got quite a busy week, and without giving anything away, we've had quite an exciting week as well, haven't we? It's been probably
Yeah.
stressful. It's been long hours, but it's looking really good, and we might be able to share a little bit about this in the next podcast. Uh, but let's just say it's been a fantastic week here at Aon.
It certainly has, mate. So, and if you want to find out more about who we are, what we do, find the best version of yourself, chat about your organisation as well. That we've mentioned role model for your family. You could be a role model at work as well, perhaps. Looking at mental well-being, all that kind of stuff. Check out our website www.aonhaf.co.uk. Check us out across all the social medias. And if you fancy any coaching support, just drop us a message. We would be delighted to hear from you.
Happy days. Right. Take care, folks. Thank you for listening.
Take care. See you soon.